Hello. It's Monday at about 10 o'clock. Yeah, and I missed Friday. I know this is just, things have just been really chaotic here, and they're going to stay that way this week. Um, I'm dog sitting. We got construction going on. Um, Family members are going on trips and coming back. So I'm just going to apologize in advance for the rest of this week and maybe even the week after because I really don't know how this is going to go. In terms of being able to do the stream with the other stuff that's going on. So, like on Friday, I was just about to start the stream. I was just heading down here to the Knott studio, and the construction folks' supervisor showed up and wanted to go over the entire project, which was important because a couple of family members are gone this week and next week, and I'm dog sitting. That's why I'm dog sitting, because they're gone. And I needed to go over the entire project on Friday, so I knew what was happening before they left, because they're the ones who knew what was supposed to happen, and now I do. But that meant I didn't do the stream on Friday. The camera seems to have changed angles. I don't know. There's been a lot of work going on down here as well. Behind me is a computer that isn't working. Alexis has been trying feverishly, furiously, futilely, trying to get it to work by swapping parts out, in and out, in and out. And it's still not working despite her best efforts, which is unfortunate. And this, I got paper towels here. Here, I'll take them off. So on Friday, I was planning to repaint the white stripes on the control panels around the display ports. Okay. And I didn't do that, obviously, because I didn't do anything on Friday on the stream because it just didn't happen. And then today I was thinking about doing that, but I have to stop at 11:15 because of another thing that's happening. And so at 11:15 I will be stopping the stream. Maybe I'll be taking a break. Maybe I'll be back. I don't know. I will come back either case. I'll either come back and start working again for a little while, or I'll just sign off. I don't know. It depends on how the rest of life is going at that time. So it's nothing really bad, but it's just everything's just really being intrusive. You know how that goes, where just stuff is happening and I have to react to it and respond to it. And so that's how that is. So there, we got this started. So what I am going to do today is, first of all, I just got boxes of parts all over the place. Let's see what these parts are. These parts, these are the chairs, chair bases, and the supports for the railings. Let's leave them here because they could be spread around. One thing I can do is I can tape the chairs and paint the backs blue. There. This box is red stuff. And these are the railings. So these are painted now. I'm just going to take them off and put them in this box. And then I'm going to put this box aside, as much as there is a side to put them. Yeah, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm taking them off of this cardboard that has got a lot of red paint on it, because whenever spraying paint, especially with cans and sometimes with airbrushes too, there is more paint that goes on things don't want painted than there is paint going on things one does want painted. So it's a huge waste of paint. Okay, so these railings, these things go under, actually they go like this. I thought, I thought at first that this this would be the bottom and that the railings would kind of go on like that. But that's not how this works. It looks like this, and then the railings are supposed to just set on top of these. It's just going to be interesting doing that because they're going to flop all over the place. So these chairs are going to be inauthentic. There's supposed to be a black kind of circular thing on the front and the back, and it's not molded in. So I just don't have the skill to do it. So what I'm going to do is tape around the edges and paint the backs blue. And then it'll have a gray seat cushion with a blue back, and hopefully it'll look okay. It won't look like it should, but it'll look adequate. I'm going to fold this up and set this in a place. Yeah, with the computers being repaired back there, that my places have become restricted as well. Well, I guess what I really need to do is move this again. So one thing I might work on today, depending on how this next bit goes. So there's a couple of things I could be doing. One is the elevators in here. I'm going to unmask that and see how it turned out, and hopefully it's adequate. If that's the case, there's two decals that go on it, and I'm just going to stick those on. I've got the staircases that go. We've got the parts for it over there. There's 3 staircases that go from the lower to the upper here. And then I could put those on. I might do that. And the other thing I can do is you might have noticed that, there's this nice circle here, right? And it's all painted brown, but there's nothing here. There's nothing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a nice piece of cardboard. I found one. And I'm going to cut out, see this cardboard it's sitting on? I'm just going to cut one out along the edges and then paint it this brown color so that when it's setting on it, it'll be brown in the middle, like that. Okay. Instead of just whatever it's sitting on. It could be sitting on anything and it would look doofus. Well, let me pull the elevator out here. It's very red. These parts are taped. The elevator doors are red, and they're red because I found out that they are red. I was going to paint them like an off-white, a light blue actually, which would have been a very nice color. But a member of the family looked them up and said, "Oh no, the elevator doors are red." So there's tape on here that hopefully makes a nice clean line. Why not? Let's find out. Let's find out if today is going to be, disrupted sleep too. Let's find out what kind of day today is going to be by unmasking this. And if it works okay, this is the elevator door here. Decal number 22 and decal number 24 go on the sides. The elevator actually goes right there. But it's always this moment of truth. It's a moment anyway. I don't know if it's truth or not, but it's a moment. Damn it. I'm sorry, I need to say that. This goes like this, right? Can it go like that? Well, like this. And this shows on top. And this needs to be red. all the way across the top. And when I sprayed it, I didn't get the corners. Okay, I'm gonna do this hardly ever works kind of thing, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Always, why is there always something? Why? Why? Should I take the tape off for no? I'm just gonna do this first. Because who knows where the paint's gonna go. I'll be right back. I need to wander off camera again. What I'm gonna do matte paint, since it's spray paint, and I've done this before, is just spray a little bit of paint into one of these containers and then brush it on. And I want to be careful not to get it on the surface, really, because it dissolves the paint underneath it. I'm doing, this is, I think this could go either this way or I could flip it over. This side is even less painted than this, so it's just a couple of spots. I'm unhappy about the start of the day. Grumpy about the start of the day here. That tiny spot there. Plastic container can just be thrown away, and I can try to clean this brush. There's always something. Always. It's amazing. There's always something. So today, yeah, it's going to be that kind of day, apparently. I need some thinner. I might just spend like an hour and 10 minutes doing nothing here. Well, it's nothing. I did something. I put tiny little spots of paint on a piece of plastic that for some reason hadn't been adequately painted before. I'm really kind of leaning the tape has to come off eventually. Okay. So I might as well just do that. I'm going to let that dry for a bit. But the tape has to come off eventually, so I might as well just go ahead and do that and see what I've got. I either have success or failure. Hard to tell, right? It's always hard to tell if one is going to have success or failure until take the tape off. So I'm going to take the tape off in a little bit. And then if it looks like a success, I will put those decals on. I think I can do that in my current state of lack of coordination and stuff. Things. So I'm going to be incoherent and why not be incoherent and other words. Oh my. This is a pretty good brush. I wonder why I don't use it more. I should put one of those little caps over it. Little caps and protect the bristles. I think I've got some extra ones. Yeah, I don't know. I had it in the. I usually don't use these. I had the in the. I don't use these brushes pile. I just knocked on the floor. For sure, I had some. I'm just rooting through a box here. That's where I keep my needle files and pins and nails and the thing that's used to here to open up the cement. I just kind of wander around here again. There's one. They were in here with the tweezers and yeah. Oh, it's got a little safety cap on it. So back to this. What I'm planning to do is I've got this. Is this an empty box now? I'm bumping into it. It's empty, so I don't need it. I don't need it to be where I'm bumping into it. And now it's I'm going to trip over it instead. So amongst all of the cardboard, I've got this piece of cardboard is pretty nice. Again, like flat surface on it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on it. Keep knocking into that. Oh, these paints are in the way now. I didn't put them away before. I should get them away. Someday again, one of these things again, someday I'll show you the really cool paint holder that Alexis made. So I'm going to just trace around this. I'm going to use probably the pencil. Yeah. Ooh, this is a classic. This is wow. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pencil. Yeah. From the 80s sometime, I think. So I'm going to make this, I want this to end up being a little bit bigger than this, so that those, like the LEDs, once this goes on like that. Okay. It's resting on it. It doesn't fit. Maybe with the tape off. None of the parts fit, really. So I can do that. I can do that while that paint is drying. When I cut this, what I want it to do is not move, okay, like it just did. And then it just messes up the whole point of it. It's going to, as you can tell, it's going to end up approximate. Okay. It is going to be an approximation. The main view screen goes there. So when I take this off, there should be a thing about, an outline that looks kind of like this. But when I take this off, it needs to go somewhere, doesn't it? I'm really not thinking anything. There we are. Look at that. There's an approximation of the shape of this, and what I want is for it to be. I want to cut on the outside of this line, like about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Nice clean cuts, maybe with an X-Acto knife, maybe, and a ruler. Cut it off, and then I'm going to paint it this color. So it's not a water-based paint. So when I put a lot of it's been going on to cardboard because I've attached things to cardboard, and so I know it's not going to curl up or anything. But then it'll give me a base on which to work. It'll be a base on which this can set, where it'll look brown like that instead of whatever color on the cardboard or not. I guess I can be careful, which I hardly ever am. I can tape this, see how it goes. The camera back to actually where I'm doing stuff here. I tape the back edges because the backs of all of these pieces are just going to be the plain plastic. That's all. That's got gutch on it. Gutch. That's a. I see. Yeah, those were circles on there that haven't been completely. Yeah, I thought I got those, but I didn't. Well, what the heck? I'm going to just do that now. I'm just molding circles here. And then paint got on the back, and I can just bend that off. Yeah, I thought I had sanded those off. I didn't sand them enough. They're really deep. I don't know if I want to get them off completely or not. The elevator might be forever marred. Forever marred by molding circles. A guard dog that you can't hear. She's not really a guard dog. She just acts like one, just barks at everything. Someday, a month, we're going to have to go through some training of, just bark like once or twice until you get attention. Okay, and as soon as you get attention, then you don't need to bark anymore. Yeah, I'm not going to get those circles off. They're way too deep. Yeah, unfortunately, this model, the backs, it's a circle, right? It's a circle, and so you look at it from the one side and you see the backs of these things, and the other side you see the fronts, but it's not really a well done model. Yeah, taking off the parts that are not scary. Scary in the sense of if it went badly, it would be here. Okay, well, let's see what we've got, huh? What we got is tape that won't come off. There you go. No, that side's okay. It doesn't mean it's going to be successful. It means that one side is okay. I don't like to get real optimistic about these things because just never know. Sometime, and then I'm surprised. It's like, ooh, that actually worked. How about that? What a surprise! What a pleasant surprise. Let's see this one. Okay, I now have red elevator doors, and they go here like that. They don't fit great, but there they are. You can see them there. And then decals go here and here. Specifically, decals number 22 and 24. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and put decals on. I'm just going to do that. And then the doors will be done, and I can put them in the done box. Dun-dun-dun. I think that's a good thing. And then after I do that and put it in the done box, I'm going to cut cardboard. So as I've said, I am going to take a break at about 11:15. It'll be at a half hour, sort of, and then I'll come back, and hopefully I'll come back. I need to put this aside so I can like put anything anymore. I have like totally cluttered the entire universe here. Yep, I just set it down on top of the decals. Yeah, that was good. Here's the massive decal sheet. Here's some clean water. Here's some toothpicks for decal positioning. Here's some red elevator doors. I am really pleasantly surprised at how that turned out. With nice clean lines. I would say over here, like 1/10 of a millimeter off from perfect. So it's definitely adequate. So on this side goes number 22, and on this side goes number 24. See what those are. That's where it went. I kept looking for this and looking for it. It's the nameplate. So over here on this side, just when you're getting on the elevator and you don't know where you are, it says you're on the USS Enterprise. Starship class, San Francisco, California. Oh, there's 22. Huh. Okay, that's weird. Oh, that's like a floor plan, kind of, I guess. It's tiny. That's decal number 22. It's kind of tiny, but it's got a picture of the starship above and from profile, and it goes there on the side somehow. Do that one first. That's 22. Kind of interesting. When I first saw that, I thought that was really weird. It looked like it was supposed to go on the main viewing screen, like underneath it somehow. With no idea where it went. And I kept looking for it on the instructions, but sometimes I can't see things that are right in front of me, I guess. The decals should always be cut out as close as possible to the paint so that the clear part doesn't show. And it's possible to get closer than I did, but not so much for me. So those of you out there who are more, eye-hand coordinated can get even closer to the painted surface. But I need to leave that little bit of line of, it's blue, but it's end up being clear. I need to leave that just so I don't cut into the painted surface. That way I could see where I'm going. I got a nice straight line, so that was good. This is trash. I have kind of a trash thing over here. It's not really made for trash. It just happens to be accumulating trash, except for the part that I dropped on the floor. This is going to be the top. This is going to go there. Now, what I've done before, I guess will work, is I put this in the water, just to get it wet, and it curls up and does that kind of thing. And then I get the paper towel really soaky wet, so it drips all over the place. It's important to have it drip all over the place. And then Just sit on the paper towel while it drips all over the place because it's very wet, because that's what it's supposed to be. Um, this works because if it's like when I used to do these when I was a kid, I just let them sit in the water and they'd sink to the bottom and the decal would come off the paper, and sometimes the decal would float to the top and the paper would sink. Sometimes the whole thing would sink, but then pulling it up out of the water while it was all not on the paper was I don't know. I don't remember it being a disaster very often, but it can. They can curl up on themselves, and then straightening them out becomes a really difficult thing. You know what I should do, but I probably won't because I've got my hands all wet now, is, at what height do these go? It takes a surprisingly long time. It feels like a long time for them to come loose from the paper. There's someone in chat. Is my chat screen not the same as the chat screen on the display? Hold on, this is weird. And that must have been chat from the stream Sunday yesterday. Okay. Nicely wrinkled there. Yeah. That's what happens to them. They get wrinkled. Yeah, I just want it to rotate like the most infinitesimal little bit. Oh, I don't know what's going on with the dog. Did that look about right? I mean, it'll be okay. Just dab it, get the excess water off. I mean, that looks like it went okay. His dogs are going absolutely bonkers about something. It's so weird. 24, which is the label that says what it is. Well, there, I'm accomplishing something today, I guess. I'm getting details on. And the next thing I'm going to do is attempt to cut off my fingers by attempt to do is cut up that piece of cardboard to make a base for the whole bridge. No idea what set them off. That's really unusual behavior. A pretty small one. That's going to be, that makes it a little more challenging. That's what happens. It sank to the bottom. This is the sopping wet paper towel. I'll just set it on there. And then this is just going to go on the other side, right about there. And then this will go in the done box. Yeah, because that means it'll have been done. And then I'll put the decals away and get the. No, I don't need to bring that back. I'm just going to be cutting cardboard. I'm going to cut it right onto this cardboard. So this piece of cardboard is going to get cut up, but you wouldn't be surprised to find out that we actually have a pretty good supply of cardboard from boxes that get delivered. This anymore. This out of the way so I don't hurt myself on a pair of scissors. That can happen, right? Don't need that anymore. Move that so I don't knock it over. I don't need this can of paint anymore, which is now in the way. There. And this can go there. That whole thing gets to be thrown away. I like to I like to keep these little pieces of cardboard though for attaching parts to be painted because then I don't have to cut new parts. They're already cut. Mutter. Just slide off the other direction this time, I think. Yeah. It's going to go here. Yeah, it's crooked and in the wrong place. These decals are always kind of recalcitrant. They're you want them to move, right? And they don't move. And then you don't want them to move and they go flying and sliding all over the place. That thinks it's pretty even. Okay, well, it thinks it's even. When I measure it, it looks infinitesimally bit crooked. But yeah, no, it's decaled. And it's got a schematic of the ship and a little tag that when you get on the elevator, you know what the name of, what ship you're on. Okay. And I'm going to put this then in the done box here. The main viewing screen, got the side viewing screen, and then got the elevator. Yeah, I got 3 panels done, and all the rest of the panels are like these, and I need to do white touch up, do little bits of white touch up on the white rims. I'm not doing today because it's one of those just not going to happen day. What I can do is I'm not going to work on these either. At least not before break. It's going to be a break here. Oh, you have to put the decals in a safe place, which is always not stopping. I do not know what's gotten into her. Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this smaller so it's closer, just take off chunks of it because it's just in the way, it's too big. This is my tool for that. What's in the way here? I guess I'll do it this way. I don't need to be extremely precise with this. And it's just easier to keep it. Great. Almost knocked my coffee over. That would have been not helpful. Got cardboard. I'm going to just throw it on the floor. Huh. Yeah, that was messy, but why not? Stopped. I hope that's a good thing. Yeah, the cardboard underneath here is taking a beating, but it's just cardboard, right? Now it's a more manageable size, at least in relation to my work surface, which is, that. All right. So what I want this to be is I want this to be about 1/8 of an inch bigger. Maybe 1/4 of an inch. I want it to be about 1/4 of an inch bigger than the outline. So I'm just going to use this little straight edge. And it doesn't have to be precise, but, about that much. And I want the edges to be fairly clean. Is that not coming off? What is it still attached? Yeah. So it's going to look like cardboard, because that's what it is. But it'll look better than nothing. I'm kind of just working my way around this. I don't know how long it's going to take. Probably way longer than it needs to, but I'm trying to be a little careful. And what I'm going to end up with is a piece of cardboard that is pretty close to being the same shape as the base, except like 1/4 of an inch bigger in terms of its dimensions. And it's going to be painted brown to match the color of the base. and I've got a small portion of it. Yeah, I'm off camera. That's pretty handy. Nice. Maybe I'll there. Let me move it around. I'm gonna have to find out what's going on with that dog. It's just really wow. She's being really. If it's going to be like that, I'm going to not be able to come back after break. I haven't heard any yelling or screaming from upstairs of a human voice, so I'm kind of guessing that whatever is going on is annoying but not awful. The correct assumption or not, I'll be finding out soon when I do go on break. Which I might do sooner than later, given the yelping that's going on up there. And that I can only do things in one direction. Yeah, I got like a third of it done. It doesn't look too bad. Just little trim bits here and there, which I can probably do later. I got this little metal ruler. I don't remember where I got it. I think it's maybe from like an auction box or something. But it measures actually in 64ths of an inch. And look at that. No, you can't look at that. No, you can look at it. 64ths of an inch. It's just pretty amazing. It's old. It's all corroded, but it's still really usable for things like measuring whether or not the decals are uneven. I was measuring down to the 32nd of an inch, which is on this side. And sort of on camera. There we go, more or less, as I go around the edges here. Take this chunk off. It's like a piece of tape under there. That's why it's become somewhat reluctant. I'm going to not be able to finish this before I need to go. I need to go at 1:15, and I've got less. I don't have much time left. So I need to leave actually right after this cut, I need to leave pretty much now. And I'll be back in about half an hour. And at that time, I'll let you know whether I'm going to be able to continue doing anything yet today, or whether I just need to end early. I don't know. It depends so much on the situation with the dog sitting. But you can see this is coming along okay. The thing's going to sit on there. I'm going to this is a rounded corner. I'm just going to do that. Just a little bit there. Maybe a little bit of, I'll use those sharp scissors maybe and clean up some of this. But you can see that this will be okay. This will end eventually in a shape. Yeah, I'm tempted to keep going, but I really do need to stop this because I just need to stop. I will be back in about a half an hour, more or less, about a half an hour more or less, at which time I will let you know if I can continue or whether I need to stop for the day. Thanks for watching so far. I do plan to be back on Wednesday at the usual time, and hopefully I'll be able to get back to those view screens. If not, I'll be assembling stairs and railings, I guess. So, like I said, I'll be back in a bit to let you know if more will be happening yet or not. I really lied very significantly about how long this was going to take. It's just going to be that kind of thing. I am going to finish cutting out the base for the model. Okay, just trim around this like I have been. And then I'm not sure quite what I'll do. I'm not going to be going terribly late. I'll probably end up early because the dogs are dysregulated. too much going on all the time. And now I am alone with the dogs, as my wife has gone off on a business trip. Well, like I said, this is chaos week, right? And so why not continue? Why not just continue the chaos? I'm going to cut off the rest of these bits around the edges and then do a little bit of trimming. And then I'm going to decide what, if anything, I'm going to do next. Know what, if anything, I am going to do next. I'll find out when it comes time to doing something next, right? I need to decide, am I going to try to attach? Am I going to attach the base to this, or just set on it? I'm not sure what the best thing to do would be. I think attaching it would be a good idea. Oh, excuse me. Because, you know, then it would stay put. Maybe I might just rubber cement it to this. You know, just something that could come off if necessary, but it would hold on to it enough so that it wouldn't just keep sliding off. I'm not sure. I have to give some thought to that. I don't want to epoxy it on. Could use contact cement. Could just tape it on, I suppose. I mean, that's possible, isn't it? Just put a little bit of tape on it. Well, one thing is pretty nice is I didn't cut my fingers. I mean, unless I do it with these little scissors, I would have succeeded in cutting this out without hurting my fingers. You know, like cutting off a piece of it or something. Well, that's a success. Is not hurting myself. So on Wednesday, as much as anything is going to be normal for these 2 weeks that we're in here, the 2 weeks that started Friday, the rest of this week and all of next week, as much as any part of that is going to be kind of normal, it should resume being that kind of, not quite, but, a little bit closer to normal on Wednesday. And I've been, talking about finishing up those view screens by painting the white, touching up the white stripe. I've been talking about doing that now for like 3 streams and I haven't done it. So on Wednesday, I'm going to sort of plan, as much as anything gets planned. Well, I shouldn't say that. Things get planned as much as any plans actually get implemented. On Wednesday, it will be that being touching up the white on the edges, the rims of the display panels. Yeah, like words. Okay, I'm going to wander off again. Here I am wandering off again. For the most part, just to clean up. Okay, just going to throw some trash away and put the knife away. Got this nice. So this is going to be the base now for the base of the thing, and once it's painted, the thing being the circle of the circle, the command deck. So I'm gonna paint this brown color, which is the same color as the top of the command deck, and then it will be a place to put it, and I'll just keep it on here while I continue my work on it. It should be okay. Let's see how that goes. So what I've done so far is I've got this circle done. I've got these steps painted, but I haven't assembled them. I've got this command station assembly completed. I should actually show you the done box. I've got the elevator door panel done. I've got the main screen and the main side screen panels done. And all the rest of the screens are these things, which are the control panels. I've got these railing bits painted. I've got the chair support painted. Let me take a little bit of time. I'm going to get one of the chairs out. I'm going to see if I can, what the likelihood is, what the possibility is of being able to tape it so that I can paint the backs of them. And I'll show you one of these. What I need to do is, see, I painted the gray, okay? And it got on I painted the gray, and then I painted the white, and the white got onto the gray, and then I painted the gray to touch up the white. And now you can see that there's just little bits like around the edges and where the paint isn't quite covering, where the white needs to be touched up again, and it's going to be less than perfect. I just know that it will be less than perfect, but it will be adequate. Okay, so I'm going to just touch up some of the white bits, and then after I touch up the white bits, almost certainly I'm going to have to come back to the gray, and then almost certainly there will be one or two spots where the gray paint, just like the brush slipped or the paint is oozing or something, where I have to come back and do white. So I'm just going to have to keep going back and forth on these. I've got, move the camera. I've got all of those to do. And I'm hoping to get back to those on Wednesday. Right here. This is you keep sliding around. These are the chairs. This is the base of the chair. You would think that there'd be like a hole in the bottom of the chair, into which this would go, but there isn't. There's just kind of a slot. And so that needs to be attached somehow so that it's not weirdly, it's okay if a couple of them are a little tilted or something, but I don't want it. I want them to be pretty straight. So I think contact cement might work. I might just epoxy it on. That might work too. I don't know. CA glue would work okay. I would just go chunk, and it would be done, and then it would be crooked like that, because that's how things happen for me. And then the railings pose their own assembly challenge, because The railings just sit on top of these not really flat surfaces like that. And there's no little notches or anything. They're just supposed to attach. So, yeah, just little bits of assembly on the railings and the stairs and things will be, just a little more challenging than it really needs to be, actually. Got this. I've also got some $6mm stuff. Might be good. I want to tape around the edges here. I guess the seat cushion comes down on the front. So I want to just tape around all of this. And then the back gets spray painted bright blue. I'm going to try this tape and see how I do. All of these surfaces are curved surfaces. There's nothing except for the very front of the chair straighter. Yeah, this is a prime example of my fingers not really working. So my fingers aren't really working, and the tape sticks to my fingers better than it sticks to the chair. It doesn't help, does it? No. And I want it to be just over the edge, but not very much. Because the more it goes over the edge, the more likely it is that it will fold over. So if I can see it at all, then it's doing what it needs to do. I'm just going to cut that tape, excess tape off around the top there. Yeah. Get it nice and tight on the edge. I need to eventually cover the whole thing. Yeah, these are gonna. Oh boy. Hold it. Can't get it. Trying to get it. Yeah, there we go. Kind of lined up. You'd think the tweezers would help, but they don't help nearly as much as you think they would, because in fact the tape sticks to the tweezers better than it sticks to the plastic. So as I'm positioning this here, I am in fact detaching it from where it had already been attached. Got the wrong tweezers. I need the ones with the pointy, the triangular tip, not the flat tip. This will be fun on someday, either Wednesday or Friday when I get back to it. I'm just not going to get this done. many. I mean, I'll get one of them done, maybe two. But it's just more challenging than I would expect it to be. Masking is a critical part of model building, because if you're going to paint the model, and most models need to be painted, that's how you keep the paint away from the places where you don't want it painted. Right there, that was profound, very profound. And I do believe that even if you're a really good master modeler, I mean, like really, really good at modeling, that you do spend like most of your time, by that I mean like more than half, putting masking tape on stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two of these. It just barely goes over the edge, but it does, as long as I can see it. You know, it doesn't have to be a lot. And then this is going to get painted bright blue, which will be close to, but not exactly the same color as it needs, as the box top, you know, in the pictures I've seen. And you know, when it gets unmasked, it'll maybe be okay. And if it is, that's great. And if not, then I'll just put the gray primer back on it again and keep trying. There's 6 of them, so the odds, what are the odds? What are the chances of all 6 of them turning out okay? I don't know. Yeah, that's the finding out part. Okay, well, there's one. Oh, yeah. Need to cover the middle. You just don't, you never know. You never know where the paint is going to go. And even though it'll be like this, turned over when it's being painted, it could just come around and paint the middle. Yeah, that's way too long. This scissors is now getting coated in tape. That'll have to be cleaned up. My fingers are getting coated in tape. There. So I need to make sure it's pressed down carefully around all the edges, but not over the edges. And then I need to make sure that I paint up to the edges, which sometimes doesn't happen. So one of them is taped. I'm going to take the time to do one more, and then I'm going to end early. You know, a little bit early, because the dogs are usually well behaved, but I'm alone with them now, and there's construction going on, so I just have to be super careful. So that taping of the chair, that's what I'll be doing on Wednesday, assuming everything goes okay. With everything else that's going on here, with the construction and the dog sitting and the people coming and going and everything like that. You know, making those assumptions, I'll be touching up white rims around the display panels, and I'll be taping these chairs, and I'll be figuring out how to attach the circle, the circular base of the model to the piece of cardboard that I will have painted the same color as the base. I'm just going to tape the whole thing here and then trim it all at once instead of doing little bits at a time. Sure, that'll work too. So this, like most of the time when I make a plan, those are the things that might happen. Okay, the things that I would like to have happen on the next stream. That doesn't necessarily mean those are the things that will happen, because, as you know by now, only a small fraction, a portion of the things that I would like to have happen on the stream actually happen on the stream. Usually something goes wrong, or it takes longer than I thought it would, or there's an interruption of some sort, or all sorts of excuses. There's always a reason. I guess I'll call it a reason, not an excuse, for why this was the plan and it didn't work. Sometimes it's just I have to start something over, like with the Lotus Ford decals, which have arrived, by the way. And someday when I'm done with this, I'm going to go back into the Lotus Ford and finish that when I'm done with this. I don't want to just keep bouncing back and forth necessarily. I mean, unnecessary. I just don't want to keep bouncing back and forth between them. So I'm going to try to finish this model and then go back and finish the Lotus Ford model. And then, oh yeah, I still have a couple of decals to put on the Apollo. Just a couple of decals on the command module that I need to put on the Apollo. I keep forgetting about that. I mean, they're just decals, right? And if they don't work, I can just clean them off, but I haven't gotten around to actually doing it. So that's another thing. One of these streams, if I just remember it, I should probably make a note and stick it out here in front of me. If I remember it, it would take just like 15 minutes or something to mess around with it and get them attached in the right place. And then I need to find a new box, because the box I have that I thought would be just right to hold them isn't just right to hold them. And I think the reason it's not just right to hold them is that the boxes that I'm using for all of the parts, all the components of the Apollo stack, those boxes are too big, and I don't know, I need to maybe consolidate those. That might be the best thing to do, is consolidate those. And because that box that I've got is tall enough for the escape module and the compartment for the lunar module. It has to be tall enough for that, but it's not big enough dimensionally to hold all the other boxes. Maybe I'll keep watching. Maybe I'll find another box. I probably, over the last week or so, probably had just the perfect box, arrive with stuff in it being delivered to the house. And I'm sure I just recycled it, without thinking that, oh, this might be the box I've been looking for to hold all the Apollo bits. And now it's just it's cut up into pieces in the recycling bin. Probably what happened. So this is I know there was a big long break in the middle of this that went almost twice as long as I was planning. That's not surprising. When I take breaks, that's usually what used to happen. It used to happen. And yeah, I discovered that taping these will take a while. I've got 4 more to go. And then I'll put some blue paint on them and see how they end up looking. Yeah, I don't need to do too messing around with this. It'll be the last. Yeah, there. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to leave the tape out because I'll be working on, well, put this tape away. Mutter, change my mind midway. On Wednesday, I am going to go back to, didn't work at all. I don't know what happened there. It's supposed to go in this envelope, but it just fell out the bottom. Oh, okay. The whole thing is just cut up and screwed up. I just keep it in here pretty much so I know that it's the 6mm one because it says 6mm on it. That's how I can tell. Okay, I'm going to close the box. This is the in-process box. Leave these things here where they're going to be in the way. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in the box, because those are the tools I'm going to need. These are the tools. I'll just have them out, right? This is in the process box. I can put the tape in here. Put these things in here so it'll be all together, ready to go on Wednesday. I have to go. Thanks, everybody. But I just got called away. See you Wednesday.